What's up, guys? Coach Vass here. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, appreciate you tuning in. Listen to me talk about these workouts. If you find value in them, information is in the description to support me. If you have any feedback, let me know. Appreciate all the comments that people have sent me and how to kind of mix it up. We're going to break down Friday, June 6th. This will repeat Monday, June 23rd. Strength on the treads, power on the rower, endurance on the weight floor. As always, we'll talk about the key concepts of the 2G, talk about the 3G, and then wrap it on up. So for today on the treads, we're gonna see 3 blocks, 3 hills. You go up, you go down, and then you choose. On the rower, it's all about finding power with a 100-meter all-out row. And then on the floor, each time you head from the rower to the floor, we're gonna add an exercise to a circuit. You'll need benches out and obviously dumbbells. Looking at the tread side, we're gonna see 3 blocks, 7 minutes apiece with a 75-second walk recovery. The main priority of today is to maintain their base speed in blocks 1 and blocks 2 and block 3. There's a little bit of twist on the second and potentially the third one. We'll talk about that when we get there. We're gonna see 6 minutes of a base climb, followed by a 1 minute all out. Nothing too fancy here. Every minute, members are gonna add 1% to their incline. So power walkers, they'll start at their base incline, and then joggers and runners establish that base speed at flat road. Bikes and striders know what their base RPM and base gear is. They hold that for the first minute, and then they go up by 1%. Recommendation is for power walkers to start at a 5% incline for the first part of that hill. Joggers and runners will be at a 2%. Bikes and striders, they're gonna add a gear every time the treads add a percent. So at flat road, they're at base. At that 2% incline, 1 gear over base. And then we just keep going up. So power walkers, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Joggers, runners, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then for the bikes and striders, they'll start at base, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gears over base, as long as they can maintain base RPMs. If they start to drop below 60, maybe make that off mic conversation of maintaining or even going down 1 gear so they could keep the RPMs up high enough to minimize any grinding on the joints. Once they get to that minute of that 6% incline, they'll drop it flat road and hit an all-out effort. After that, 75 seconds to walk, get back to base if they're ready. And then block 2, it's the inverse. So they'll start at that top incline, 9% for power walkers, 6% joggers and runners, bikes and striders, the highest gear they were able to maintain with at least 60 RPMs or greater. And then every minute, they pull it back down until they hit that flat road base, and then flat road all out. 75 seconds to walk, and then block 3, member choice. They could choose to repeat block 1 or block 2. Personally, I know we have done this style of hill climbs, ups, downs, and then choose your own adventure many times over the past few years. Every time it comes back, I like to get interaction from the members. So I will get a show of hands of who's gonna repeat the incline increase, who's gonna do decrease. And if people don't respond, then I will jokingly say, hey, who forgot to raise their hand? And now they're gonna repeat block 2. And then you'll get a couple people like, oh yeah, I guess I will, which is kind of fun. So when it comes to that third block, when it comes to coaching, since most people will probably be doing something different, rather than saying, add a gear or add an incline, take an anyway incline, just change your incline, 3, 2, 1. That's it, okay? As far as OT beat response, what we're gonna see is for block 1, starting at base, 2, 3, they're probably gonna stay in the green. Halfway through that 3% incline, tapping into that 4, definitely high green. They might hit orange a little bit. And then that 4, 5, 6% all out, definitely low orange, maybe even getting mid-range or a high orange, okay? Block 2, it's gonna be kind of the opposite because they jump up to a 6% incline. They're gonna be hitting high green, even hitting into that orange pretty quick. And then they're gonna stay elevated until about that 3% incline. And then it'll start dropping down at the 2% and flat road. The unique thing about block 2 is as we lose incline, to keep the effort relatively the same, members have the choice of increasing their base speed, okay? Rule of thumb is every 1% that you add or take away feels approximately like a 0.2 speed change. Okay, so that might be a one way to kind of challenge some members of, hey, if you add a percent, or if you take away a percent, can you add 0.2 or at least 0.1, right? Especially on that 3 and 2 and the flat road base. Okay, and then block 3 heart rate responses are probably going to stay elevated, mostly high green, low orange, kind of ebb and flow between that, no matter what people are doing, until they hit that all out, and definitely it'll spike back up and then they'll walk it out. Okay, now on the weight floor, unique situation. 23.5 minute tread floor block for them. As far as the setup goes, you'll definitely want to give them the format of what's going to happen. What we're going to see is a weight floor circuit for 1 round, and then 2 rounds of 100 meter all out. When they come back, it's still 1 round of the weight floor circuit, but we add an exercise. And then 2 rounds on the rower, and then part 3, the longest circuit for 1 round, and then the final 2 rounds of the rower, and then that's it. They're done with the rower. They'll come back to the floor, and then they'll repeat their favorite exercises until the time for the finisher, which is exercise number 6. So it's one that's not even part of the original circuit. With a add-on situation like that, definitely explain the format of what's going to happen, and then utilize the daily beat of what to acknowledge, what to fully demo. They recommend full demo for the lateral lunge to full step up, and then also for the single dumbbell good morning, and then partials for the bicep curl, high plank to alternating side plank, dumbbell uppercut, and then just acknowledge the sit up with torso rotation, which is the finisher. Especially knowing that the first movement is probably going to be the most challenging for people, since they are going to do a lateral step up into a full step up for 6 reps. So definitely look at the VVA beforehand so you understand the footwork, so that when you demonstrate it for the members and you walk them through it as you demonstrate it, it makes sense to you and to the members. They're going to do 6 on one side, 6 on the other. So a total of 12 reps, 12 bicep curls, 12 total of the high plank side plank, 12 good mornings, 12 uppercuts. They recommend a light to moderate weight choice so they can complete all the movements almost like back to back as a circuit, rather than taking rest between each movements. Okay. When they go to the rower, it's a 100 meter all out row, rack and rest, repeat. And the goal is to maintain intensity for that rower portion. So on the daily beat, they recommend, paying attention to heart rate response, paying attention to split time, paying attention to wattage. In all honesty, 100 meters is so short, it's really hard to get a good gauge on any of those metrics, because obviously, if you are familiar with the OT Connect tablets for the rowers, there is that slight delay when it comes to establishing your stroke rate, establishing your split time, establishing your watts, and that wattage will very drastically change stroke to stroke. So personal opinion, not from the Grove or anything, but from my own opinion, I would simply look at match or beat your time. If they slow down on that second attempt, that's their indication of take a longer recovery. If it is a true all-out effort, at a bare minimum, it should be at least 1 to 2 work to recovery. So if it took them 20 seconds to knock out that 100 meter all out, and they were truly all out effort, they should rest for at least 40 seconds. I know that is a long time to just sit there, but if they are looking for true performance, at a bare minimum, double the amount of time. In a perfect world, and most people will not do this, it's 3 times. For a true anaerobic work, like it is 3 times the amount at a minimum to truly recover from that. If you are ever familiar with doing like very intense, aggressive sprints with running, same idea. That 100 meter dash, you're going to take a couple minutes to catch your breath and recover before you feel ready to go again, right? So it's no different for that all-out row if they are truly going at an all-out effort. All right. That's all I really have to say about the 2G. With the 1 minute intervals on the treads, it may not feel like a lot of time, but you do have a lot of time between each on mic cue to be off mic and help the weight floor and really hone in with people on the rowers to help them develop power through the lower body. With a 100 meter all out row, this is a row-in distance where the technique is crucial in learning on how to be explosive with a high stroke rate. So really truly planting the heels down and keeping those heels planted on those foot plates as much as possible. So that half slide in for the seat rather than trying to come all the way to the front, just enough to kind of get into like a 90-degree angle bend of the knee, and then they're exploding back like they're trying to jump off those foot plates. When we look at the 3G, 3 blocks on the treads, 3 blocks on the rowers, 1 long block on the weight floor. The treadmills is set up just like the 2G, except for it's just cut in half. So instead of 1 minute base climbs, it's every 30 seconds they're gonna make a change, but they do also finish with a 1 minute all out. That's gonna be spicy. So with quick incline increases, same thing, they probably won't see the increase to the heart rate until about that 4% incline, because that will put them right around that 1.5 to 2 minutes of incline work. And then 5, 6, definitely heart rate stays elevated into the all out. Same thing though, there's only 75 seconds to recover before the next block. We'll start at 6, work the way down every 30 seconds, and then they choose, do they repeat block 1 or block 2? Now for the rower, we're gonna see a decrease in distance on each block. So block 1 is the longest one with a 200-meter all out row with a body weight single leg calf raise, 6 on each side. With this idea of work and active recovery, we're looking to at least maintain or stay very close to the initial 200-meter all-out effort, okay? So if you're looking at time domains, could they stay within 3 seconds of what they did the first time, since they're not doing a full recovery? Block 2 is gonna be 150 all-out with 10 step-out alternating squats. Because of course we're doing lower body work, legs don't really recover. So same thing, try to stay as close to the initial all-out time. Wattage, split time, whatever metric. Me personally, I'm gonna coach it based off of time. Block 3, 100-meter all-out, and then the 1, 2, 3 knee drive combo. Within the distances and the body weight movements and the transition to get on and off the rower, they really only have like enough time for 2 full rounds. Maybe they start a 3rd row attempt and then you're calling time. So it's gonna feel very similar to like the 2G, where it's like, hey, 2 attempts on the row and then that's it. For the weight floor, it is the add-on sequence, just without the rowing, okay? So they'll have 14.5 minutes, lateral lunge, full step up, bicep curl, high plank, side plank, and then they go back to a lateral lunge, work their way through, add the good morning, back to lateral lunge, and then add the uppercut, and then repeat favorite exercises until the finisher. Rather than saying the names of all these exercises, whenever there's like a big VVA screen like this, I'll usually just say, hey guys, looking at the screen, you're gonna do exercise 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sense? Great. Notice, total reps for everything, moderate weight. Let's break it down, the exercises, and then go into your setup. There you go. There's Friday, June 5th, 6th, June 6th, and then Monday, June 23rd. Coach you down, guys.